Hi class, how are you everyone? I hope everybody is doing all right and are happy and healthy as usual. Yeah. And actually, for this meeting, you are going to learn about several different skills. There's actually going to be, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that is in this video, plus another 2 skills. So these five, altogether there are 7 skills, okay? But for this video, you are going to learn about 5 skills that I grouped together. This is sort of like um, your basic grammatical knowledge that you definitely need to know to understand how to create a good English sentences. Okay, and ultimately to be able to answer the TOEFL test. So the 5 skills that I put together are skill 19 to 23, where we will discuss about singular and plural nouns, countable and uncountable nouns, subject and object pronouns, possessive and pronoun reference. Um, I hope that by this time, all of you are familiar and already have some understandings about this skills, yeah, the one that I mentioned here. All right, so without further ado, let's start the materials, yeah, for today. Okay, so basically skill 19 and 20, and a little bit from skill 21, will discuss about noun. Now, there are several problems with nouns. The same types of problem with nouns appear often in written expression questions on the TOEFL test. You should be familiar with these problems so that you will recognize them easily. You should do the following. So when it comes to noun, yeah, when you are doing the test or when you're reading a sentence, you should do the following. You should be able to identify which one is noun, and then you have to do number 1. Use the correct singular or plural noun in the sentence, and then distinguish countable and uncountable noun, and then recognize which one is irregular noun or which one is regular noun in their singular and plural form. You should be able also to distinguish between the person and a thing, because in noun, you have noun that is addressed to a person, yeah, and noun that addressed to something else that is not human, not living thing. I mean, not human, yes, not a person. So um, we're going to have we're going to look a little bit more about this noun, yeah. So singular and plural, you know the bahasa Indonesia, kata benda tunggal singular dan kata benda jamak. And then countable and uncountable noun are kata benda yang bisa dihitung dan kata benda yang tidak bisa dihitung. Regular and irregular nouns are kata benda yang beraturan dan tidak beraturan, and this refer to the way it is written, yeah. And then a person and anything, you know, of course, you cannot call a person or someone thing, sesuatu, it harus seseorang, ya. Okay, let's move on to skill number 19 about singular and plural noun. Nah, a problem that is common, yang biasanya terjadi ya, masalah yang biasanya muncul in a written expression questions on the TOEFL test is a singular noun used where a plural noun is needed, or the other way around. A plural noun is used when a singular noun is needed. So remember when I said about subject-verb agreement? Usually in the place of subject, the type of word that sit in the subject place is mostly noun, ya. Kata benda, sesuatu, or seseorang, or a pronoun. So most of the time, the TOEFL test questions will test whether you can identify either this noun is singular or plural, and does it agree with the verb or not. For example, on the table there were many dish. Now, and then the second sentence, the lab assistant finished every test. Okay. Now there's a star here, yeah, or flower or snowflakes sign. I don't know what we can call here. It means there's a problem with this these sentences. Before we continue, I would like you to think about what is wrong with these two sentences. Okay, now let's have a look. In the first example, many, the word many here, indicate that the plural dishes is needed. In the second example, the word every indicates that the singular test is needed. So you see this quantifier atau modifier noun. So the first sentence have the word many. Many artinya banyak, lebih dari satu. Which mean the word dish. By the way, dish ini artinya apa? Ada yang tahu apa artinya dish? Nah, dish ini bisa disebut piring-piring, bisa juga disebut makanan, ya. Alright, so ada banyak dish. Kalau many berarti dishnya harus mendapat tambahan s atau es. Dalam hal ini es kan akhirannya sh ya. So when you see the quantifier many, ya, berarti the noun behind or after many should be in plural form. Harus dalam bentuk plural. Plural. Okay. Next, this one, every, setiap. So when you use the word every, it signifies that the noun after the word every is singular. So meanwhile here it has tests. Ada kata test pakai akhiran s, which means plural. Meanwhile dia punya modifier di sini, quantifier di sini, or disebut sebagai every yang harus adalah singular. So therefore, you shouldn't put S here. We should cover that. Okay? Okay, let's move on. In written expression questions on the TOEFL test, you should watch very carefully for keywords such as each, every, a, one, and single that indicate that a noun should be singular. So pay attention to this word. When you come across each, every, a, one, and single, it means the noun after that word should be a singular noun, should be written in a singular noun. You should also watch carefully for keywords such as many, several, both, various, and two, or any other number except one. Ya, kata-kata itu dan angka-angka, which is a quantifier. It indicates how many it is. Yeah. So except for the word one atau angka satu, then you see many, several, both, dan seterusnya, it means that the noun after that word should be plural atau jamak. So harus dapat tambahan s, es, etc. So the following chart lists the following chart lists the keywords that indicate to you whether a noun should be singular or plural. So you need to memorize this, yeah, you need to remember this. If you find these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it means the noun should be singular. If you find this one, the noun should be in plural. Okay. I need you to go and do exercise 19. And when you're finished, come back here and we're going to continue with the next skill. Okay, let's move on to skill number 20, which is countable and uncountable noun. Yeah, okay. Let me read this through with you and explain as I go. In English, nouns are classified as countable or uncountable. Noun itu biasanya diklasifikasikan menjadi dua, yaitu yang bisa dihitung dan yang tidak bisa dihitung. For certain questions on the TOEFL test, it is necessary to distinguish countable and uncountable noun in order to use the correct modifier with them. So, penting untuk membedakan yang mana adalah kata benda yang dihitung dan mana yang tidak bisa dihitung agar supaya you can use the right modifier, bisa menggunakan kata modifier yang sesuai dengan kata-kata benda tersebut. As the name implies, countable nouns are nouns that can be counted, and so countable noun can come in quantities of 1, 2, or 100, etc. Now, the noun book is countable because you can have one book or several books. Meanwhile, itu apa yang dimaksudkan dengan countable noun ya? Berarti countable noun itu bisa dihitung. Uncountable noun atau yang tidak bisa dihitung, on the other hand, are nouns that cannot be counted because they come in some indeterminate quantity or mass. Massa ya. Atau quantity atau kuantitas atau apa tuh jumlah ya. Such as milk or happiness cannot be counted. You cannot count one milk, two milk, one happiness, two happiness. You cannot have, an uncountable noun are often liquid items. Ya, biasanya cair, benda-benda cair. Such as water, oil, or shampoo, dan seterusnya. Uncountable nouns can also refer to abstract ideas, sesuatu yang abstrak, such as security, excitement, or hope. It is a noun, itu kata benda, tapi benda-benda yang abstrak, benda-benda yang liquid, yang cair, etc. Okay, so uncountable noun can be counted if, countable noun can be counted if it has a modifier or quantifier. Dia punya, ada yang memodifikasi sehingga kita bisa tahu berapa jumlahnya, atau mempunyai quantifier yang memberikan quantity. For example, measurement unit, unit-unit ukuran seperti 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 1 liter, a glass of something, a glass of water, for example. Yes, so that's when we can count, dalam tanda kutip ya, we can dalam tanda kutip count uncountable noun. It is important for you to recognize the difference between countable and uncountable noun when you come across such keywords as much and many. Nah, ini juga penggunaan kata much and many is something that we all struggle with, ya. For example here, he has seen much foreign films and he didn't see many fun at the movies. Dua-duanya ada tanda bintang atau tanda snowflakes itu. Now, let's see why. In the first example, much is incorrect because film is uncountable. So the sentences should say many foreign films. In the second example, many is incorrect because fun is uncountable. So ini kebalikan ya. The sentence should say much fun. So from here, we can conclude that if the noun it can be counted atau countable, you use the word many. If the noun cannot be counted, then we use the word much. Okay. Now, the following charts list the keywords that indicate to you whether a noun should be countable or uncountable. When you look at this many, number, few, fewer, that is countable. Much, amount, little than less is used for uncountable noun. Okay, we're done with countable and uncountable noun. Now, please go and do exercise 20. Welcome back, and we're going to do skill number 21 now. Okay, now this one we're going to look at subject and object pronoun. All right, let's have a look. Pronoun itu adalah kata ganti orang. Yes, so I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they adalah pronoun. Nah, berarti we're going to talk as pronoun yang berfungsi sebagai subjek dan pronoun yang berfungsi sebagai objek. Okay, so before we move on, you need to remember bahwa subjek itu berada di depan kalimat atau di depan kata kerja, sedangkan objek itu berada di akhir kalimat atau di setelah kata kerja. Okay, subject, predikat, object, subject, verb, object. Okay, so object is at the back or after the verb, and subject, what did I say? I'm sorry, maybe I said it wrong. Okay, let me say it again. Subject is in the front of verb, in the beginning of the sentence, and object it comes after the verb or at the end of the sentence. Now, there are problems with pronoun. Pronoun are words such as he, she, or it, and it can take place of a noun. When you see a pronoun in written expression questions in the TOEFL test, you need to check that it serves the correct functions in the sentence, whether it is as a subject or as an object, for example, and whether it agrees with the noun it is replacing. Yeah. Nah, kemudian the following pronoun problems are the most common in TOEFL tests. For example, you need to distinguish subject and object pronoun. You need to distinguish possessive pronoun and possessive adjective. And then you also need to check for pronoun references for agreement. Okay, let's go to the next slide to be able to understand what I'm talking about here. For example, this one, subject and object pronoun can confuse TOEFL test, so you should be able to recognize. So, kalau saya sebagai subjek, I, kalau sebagai objek, saya pakai me, for example. I give this book to Tanya, for example. I, berarti subjek kan, I give this book to Tanya. Nah, kalau bahasa Indonesia, kalau dalam bahasa Indonesia, saya memberikan buku ini kepada Tanya. Bagaimana kalau kalimatnya menjadi Tanya memberikan buku ini kepada saya? Nah, kalimat bahasa Inggrisnya bukan Tanya gives this book to I, tapi harusnya Tanya gives this book to me. Oke? Okay? So, kalau kata saya dia berfungsi sebagai objek, kita harus pakai me, dan kalau sebagai subjek kita pakai I. Dan seterusnya untuk pronoun-pronoun yang lain. I, objeknya you, me, you, objeknya you, sama, he, objeknya him, she, objeknya her, it, objeknya it, sama, we, us, they, them. Alright? Please memorize this. You should remember this. A subject pronoun is used as a subject of a verb, and an object pronoun can be used as the object of a verb or the object of preposition. So, pronoun yang bertindak sebagai subjek ya digunakan tentu saja berfungsi sebagai subjek dari kata kerja atau subjek dari kalimat tersebut. Sedangkan objek pronoun digunakan sebagai objek dari kata kerja atau objek dari kalimat tersebut atau juga objek dari preposition. Nah, kita di skill sebelumnya we have talked about object of preposition, ya. Yeah? So if you forgot, you can go back and have a look at, let me see. I think that is skill, saya udah lupa ini skill berapa ya. That's actually skill number 2, object of preposition. So if you forgot about that already, you can go back and have a quick study. Let's have a look at these two sentences down here, yeah? Sally gave the book to John. Sally gave it to him. So Sally adalah subjek, ya. Gave the book, booknya adalah objek, dan to John. John adalah objek daripada preposition to. Okay? Now, she gave it to him. Sally kata gantinya pronounnya she, the book pronounnya it, dan John pronounnya him. Alright? Okay, let's have a look at the penjelasan berikutnya. In the second sentence, the subject pronoun she, I'll just skip this. Ini nanti kalian baca sendiri aja deh. Bisa di pause video ini. Now, the following examples are the types of subject and object pronouns errors, yeah, that you might see in TOEFL test. Biasanya dalam tes TOEFL nanti muncul kesalahan-kesalahan kayak gini untuk menguji apakah Anda bisa identify atau bisa melihat kesalahannya di mana atau tidak. Him and the girl are going shopping. Nah, we know that him itu adalah pronoun object atau object pronoun. So dia tidak bisa berduduk di sebelah depan sini. This is the subject place, right? So that is incorrect. It has to be he. And then the gift was intended for you and I. Nah, I nggak bisa. I-nya ada di belakang itu loh. It comes after the verb intended, was intended. So it has to be you and me. All right. So this is the long explanation about this. You can pause the video and have a read. But I'm going to continue. Okay. Actually, I'm going to continue and have you work on exercise 21. And when you finish, please come back and we will discuss the next skill. Hello. Skill 22 now we're going to talk about possessive. Possessive ini artinya kata kepunyaan. So, my book, buku saya, your book, buku kamu, dan seterusnya. Oke. Possessive adjective and possessive pronoun. Nah, ternyata when you talk about possessive, ada dua jenis possessive. Ada possessive adjective dan as possessive pronoun. Nah, apalagi ini? So, let's keep reading ya. Possessive adjective dan possessive pronoun both show who or what owns a noun. Sama-sama menunjukkan siapa atau apa yang dimiliki atau memiliki kata benda. However, possessive adjective and possessive pronoun do not have the same function. Tidak punya fungsi yang sama dua ini, adjective dan pronoun ini. And these two kinds of possessive can be confused on a TOEFL test. A possessive adjective describe a noun, ya. Jadi adjektif, ya, possessive adjektif kata sifat yang posesif. Kata sifat posesif mendescribe kata benda. However, it must be accompanied by noun. Namun penggunaannya harus ditemani oleh kata benda. Dia nggak bisa berdiri sendiri possessive adjective. Possessive pronoun, sekali lagi pronoun itu kata ganti ya. Tapi kata ganti kepunyaan takes place of a noun. Dia mengambil posisi kata benda, ya. Jadi kita ulangi sekali lagi. Possessive adjective, kata sifat posesif itu mendescribe noun, sementara possessive pronoun, kata ganti pronoun atau kata ganti ini posesif, ya, justru berfungsi sebagai noun, bisa menggantikan noun, dan it cannot be accompanied by noun, dan dia tidak boleh ditemani oleh kata benda. Jadi karena dia udah gantiin kata benda, berarti nggak usah lagi pakai kata benda. You can just use it because it's a pronoun, kata ganti. Sementara possessive adjective you can't. Let's have a look at the example down below. They lent me their book, and ini adjective ya, karena their itu adalah pronoun kata ganti, possessive pronoun, possessive adjective, sorry, it is a possessive adjective karena ada their kepunyaan ya, kepunyaan mereka, tapi di belakangnya harus ada kata benda. Compare, bandingkan dengan kalimat berikut, they lent me theirs, ada s di belakang. Mereka, jadi kita lihat bahasa Indonesia kalimat pertama ya. They lend me their book. Mereka meminjamkan saya buku mereka. Kedua, they lend me theirs. Mereka meminjamkan saya, kayaknya kalau pakai bahasa Ambon lebih enak. Dong kasih pinjam beta, dong punya. So, assuming bahwa kita tahu dong punya apa. So, it can be a book, a car, a pen, etc. So, theirs yang pakai akhiran s di sini adalah possessive pronoun. Dan dia replace, menggantikan their book, buku mereka, bisa dijadikan theirs aja, oke? And booknya tidak perlu ada lagi. Kenapa tidak perlu ada lagi? Karena dia pronoun, dan biasanya kita gunakan seperti ini ketika pembicara, dua-dua pembicara sudah sama-sama mengetahui ini kepunyaan apa, benda apa yang sedang kita bicarakan di sini. Okay, so assuming bahwa both parties who is involved in a conversation both know that they're talking about book. Now, this example shows the types of error that are possible with possessive adjective and possessive pronoun on the TOEFL test. For example, each morning they read their newspaper, and could you give me your? Nah, ini salah because each morning ada newspaper. Kalau ada benda, kata bendanya di depan newspaper harusnya adalah possessive adjective, which mean their itu nggak boleh taruh akhiran s, their saja. Sementara could you give me your apa? If you don't have a noun in the end, your-nya harus dibuat menjadi possessive pronoun. So, could you give me yours? Okay? Read the explanation down there if you want. Nah, ini adalah daftar possessive adjective dan possessive pronoun. You must remember this. Okay? All right. Move along. I need you to do the exercise 22 now. Okay, this is skill 23, pronoun reference, and this is the last skill in this video. You still have 2 other skill, but I'm going to put it in a different video, yeah. So pronouns references. What is pronoun reference, right? Everybody is thinking ini apa? Rujukan kata ganti, something like that. Let's have a look. After you have checked that the subject and object pronoun and the possessive are used correctly, you should also check each of these pronoun and possessive for agreement. Nah, ada subject dan verb agreement, ada juga pronoun dan possessive agreement. Cobaan apa lagi ini? Oke, kita lanjut. The following are examples of error of this type that you might find in the TOEFL test. For example, the boys will cause trouble if you let him. Everyone must give their name. Now, what's wrong with this? Sekilas tidak ada yang salah kan? But you need to see bahwa in the first sentence the boys ada akhiran s-nya. So anak-anak itu akan membuat kerusuhan, apa salah? Membuat keributan, kekacauan, bikin masalah mereka. Anak-anak itu akan bikin masalah if you let him. Kalau kamu membiarkan mereka. So this one ya nggak bisa him karena di sini subjeknya boys. Berarti referring ini refers to ini kan? Harus pronounnya harus refer to this one. So bukan him tapi them. The boys will cause trouble if you let them. Kita nggak bisa pakai they karena ini udah di belakang kan, di belakang kata kerja. Berarti ini adalah object, ya. So objeknya adalah them. Okay, everyone must give their name. Nah, ini incorrect. There here is incorrect because everyone is singular. Ingat di skill yang sebelumnya kalau kita ketemu yang every-an, every, it means it is singular. So which means nggak bisa there. Berarti harus everyone must give his or her name. Okay? Alright. The following chart outlines what you should remember about checking the pronoun. Ini yang harus Anda ingat. Tiap kali Anda melihat pronoun, you have to think about these 2 things. About pronoun agreement, yaitu yang pertama. Be sure that every pronoun and possessives agree with the noun it refers to. Kayak yang ini. Ini possessive dan pronoun ini dia merujuk kepada siapa? Kalau dia merujuk kepada subjek ini, lihat subjeknya singular or plural, and then digunakan yang sesuai. Number 2, you generally check back the sentence for agreement, and then setelah selesai, you read the sentence again to check whether all the elements of the sentence are in agreements or not. Okay? Okay. Now, this is the end of a long video. Now you can go and continue exercise 23 and then continue to review exercise 19 to 23 and then you can do the quiz. Okay? Whew. See you on our next video.